On the night before our departure for Tikal, we set our alarms for 7:30 in the morning because we had a driver coming at 9 o'clock a.m. And we figured an hour and a half would be plenty of time. However, we were still sound asleep at 6 a.m. when we heard someone pounding on the door. "Mr. Richard! Mr. Richard! It's time to get up for your trip!" That was our host at the Airbnb, Mr. Hector Marr. And Hector, who we'd already learned was quite a character, had decided that we needed more time to get ready for this trip than an hour and a half. In fact, we needed 3 hours. He had gone to his mother's house that morning already and picked a number of native plants, and that he was going to and had prepared us this Mayan breakfast with those plants and some meat and other things, eggs. Ultimately, we sat down with Hector for the breakfast, and it was quite delicious. Although there were a number of things there that he told us what they were, but they were unfamiliar to us. But then that's part of the joy of new experiences. Our first driver picked us up at 9 a.m. and took us to the border crossing. There we learned we had to pay a fee to leave Belize, a fee to enter Guatemala, and do it all again in reverse when we come back home. Once across the border into Guatemala, we found our personable young guide and began a 1.5-hour, absolutely terrifying drive west and north to Tikal at speeds up to 90 miles an hour. Mary Beth flatly refused to sit in the front seat. We passed through the imposing park entrance and were soon at the visitor center. There our guide used a diorama to explain the layout of the important buildings in Tikal. With that, he turned us loose to the city center, the Great Plaza, and we began to explore on our own. The Mayans accessed each tall structure by the stairs, usually in front of the building. But for the safety and comfort of the tourists, wooden stairs have been built, usually on the back sides of the pyramids. It also provides a great place to stop and try to get your breath as you climb up. The staircase at Temple 5 offers a daunting vision to the already tired tourist. The great king who built this temple saw himself as the earthly manifestation of the jaguar, the apex predator in the Mayan world. Jaguars continue to roam the Guatemalan jungle and are still atop the food chain. Continuing our tour, the Temple of Masks is directly across from the Jaguar Temple and was built for his queen. And then we moved away from the Grand Plaza. At nearly 230 feet tall, Temple 4 is the tallest structure in the Mayan world. Filmmaker George Lucas loved the view from the top. In a brief but memorable clip from Star Wars, the original movie, a single rebel soldier is up on top of this temple and is scanning the treetops when the Millennium Falcon arrives. I, however, was not so excited. The lack of any kinds of railings and the sheer drop from the stairs visible in this picture meant that my fear of heights went crazy, and Mary Beth had to help me back down the stairs. Exploring the residences, smaller temples, ball courts, and other buildings is quite fun, but it's also tiring because the risers on these stairs are almost twice as high as what we're used to. As you walk from place to place, the biodiversity of Tikal becomes apparent. There are many, many species of birds, both large and small. Howler monkeys making a racket in the trees. And perhaps the most vivid memory are the bands, as they call them, of about 30 coatimundis that roam throughout the park. When you're walking down a path, it's almost like a railroad crossing. Suddenly, you stop, and the band of coatimundis, with their endless energy, crosses your path, making lots of noise in the underbrush. Last temple of our day. We were dog-tired and hungry. We spent some time at the foot of the temple trying to decide whether we had enough energy to climb up it. As it turned out, it was quite worth it because it was a flat structure on top with a great observation deck, and you could see the other temples poking up through the Guatemalan jungle. The view was great, but as you can tell from the next clip, I was totally out of breath.
We are atop the astronomical observatory here at Tikal in Guatemala. And you got the 360-degree view of the city of Tikal and the surrounding mountains.
After getting down from that last temple, we were actually happy to pay a small fee and ride in the back of this rattle-trap truck through rutted roads to get back to the parking lot where we met our guide. Our guide took us to a restaurant just outside the park where we got some well-needed lunch and some cold Guatemalan beer. And then it was time for yet another road race across northern Guatemala back to the Belize border. Eventually we crossed back into Belize, made it back to the Airbnb. Finally we ended this great day by walking into town, finding us a Belizean restaurant, and having drinks and dinner.